and welcome to AEW Unrestricted. It is the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling, where the best wrestle. We are on TV Wednesdays and Saturdays. ROH is on Thursdays. And right now, it's Thursday morning. If you're listening to the audio. If you're watching, it's probably Monday morning. But I am Aubrey Edwards, along with my co-host, Will Washington. How are you doing, Will? What's going on?
I'm doing great. Look, this is, again... I'm always talking about how great of a time it is in AEW, but it feels great. And we're on our way to All In Texas, and I just could not be more jazzed about everything going on and the card we've announced so far. And speaking of cards, I do to remind everyone that AEW Unrestricted is sponsored and presented by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap, autograph, memorabilia, or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. I've got my deck right here, and let's go ahead and open some of these.
I pulled a lot of women out of this deck, and I think that statement by itself is really great because the women's roster at our company is so insanely strong and has been showing out a lot these past few months, especially. I mean, you can't talk about women's roster without talking about Timeless Toni Storm and how absolutely incredible she's been. We have amazing people in the ring, but we've also got Arkady Ora, our amazing ring announcer for Collision.
Got Arkady as well.
I've got Alexi Nair, who is our incredible backstage correspondent and quite fashionable, by the way. She somehow threw together this outfit the other week that was this amazing half business shirt. One side was blue, one side was white, and then she had a belt. And I was like, are those ties for belts? And she literally took two of Big Bill's ties and used them as belts, and it was so insanely fashionable. So look, I
got Julia Hart. I got the recently returned Sky Blue.
Yay! I'm so happy Sky's back. She's great.
Absolutely.
Thunder Rosa.
I've got, I think you're kind of familiar with this lady here. I've got Aubrey Edwards.
Oh, I know her.
I know her too. She's amazing.
She's
Yeah, she's one of the best.
Oh, I seem to have pulled this other card up for this one excellent individual who is both on ROH and AEW television. It also happens to be our guest today. Who's our guest today, Will?
Joining us today, she is the current and longest reigning ROH Women's World TV Champion. Please welcome back to AEW Unrestricted, Red Velvet.
She's even coming with the belt.
She's got the belt. Look at her, a total pro.
You know my baby. She's always with me.
Do you ever get that? Have you had the moments at the airport where it got stopped in your carry-on and then you have to take it out and then somebody goes, "Hey, are you a champion?" Get it?
Every time. I only carry it in my carry-on. Obviously, I would never check it, but every time I almost even lean just to see as my bag's going, because I've seen people really zoom in, and then the ones when they know wrestling, because they'll zoom and then they look out to see whose bag it is, and then the people that don't know zoom and then instantly have to go check and open it, and I was like, okay, they're not wrestling fans. But the ones that usually are, sometimes they just pass it, or sometimes they'll scan it on purpose just so they can open it and see and say hi.
I'm just going to put this out there because we're going to Kent, Washington pretty soon. But if anyone's traveling through the SeaTac airport, the guys at Security Checkpoint 5 know wrestling well and dear. And when they can identify those belts on the machine, they're very good at it.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them zoom. And I've read ROH. They can see it perfectly.
Oh, yeah. They know.
But the ones that don't know always fascinate me too, because they're like, what is this giant oblong shaped piece of metal that could possibly be in their bag?
It only just says champion on it or anything, but they still want to know, so.
My favorite is always when they're like, hey, can I wear that? And I'm like, you didn't earn it. You don't get to ask that question.
It's funny. A lot of the time they open it and they're like, oh, what do you do? What are you a champion of? And I was like, I'm a wrestler. And they're like, oh, what weight class? And then I'm like,
tiny.
I'm like, weight class TV.
Yeah. My favorite one is whenever the parents are like, oh yeah, my son wrestles. And I'm like, no. The other kind of wrestling. The other one. The one
The
with the
the
pyrotechnics and the loud music and the cheering fans, not the one on a mat in a gymnasium. Like, not
yeah.
that one.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
then again, I feel like people think I still look like a high schooler, so I say wrestling and they're like, "Oh, great." And they say weight class because I just look like a teenager, so I guess.
Hey,
I
hey,
could
hold on to
definitely
that.
see that.
Hold on
Hey,
to that.
so let's talk about the cheering fans aspect of this because recently you celebrated 5 years since you made your AEW in ring debut. 5 years is a long
Holy
time.
crap.
5
Congratulations!
years. Thank you. Half a
But
decade.
yeah,
Oh my
but I
God.
said cheering fans, but like 5 years ago was not in front of fans.
That is actually so true. What a
Uh,
time.
What a time. I feel like it's one of those things that, it was a year and some change, but it had such a lasting impact on literally everything. I feel like it comes up in everything we do backstage. Anytime we're doing anything, it's like, oh, yeah, well, remember during the pandemic we did this, or like, remember this person wrestled here during the pandemic, or remember how things were back in Jacksonville. Like, I feel like it comes up all the time. But for you, it was such a significant part of your career because that was essentially how you became known to the AEW audience. You got established during those dark days. Everybody really got to know who you were, and then you got to really dive onto TV in the biggest way possible.
Yes.
And I feel like people really got to know you in that way. So how does it feel looking back at those last 5 years for you?
Well, it's funny because looking back, Tony Schiavone asked me that question 5 years ago on AEW
Hey.
Unrestricted. So now you asking me, welcome, Will, welcome. It's been amazing. It's been amazing during the pandemic. It was such a crucial time for wrestling, but I will never regret that time because it got me to where I am today. It got the fans knowing me on such a big platform. I had the biggest match of my career, and I'm just full of gratitude. 5 years, I can't believe it. 5 years go by so fast. So much has changed from year one to year five. As you guys can see, so much has changed. But I'm just grateful, and I hope that we're back 5 years, 5 more years from now, talking about the Big Ten at AEW for me.
Right? Oh my God, such a great thing. And I mean, these years, as you've said, a lot has changed. You've had a lot of monumental moments. You're currently the ROH TV champion,
That'll
uh,
get you. That's a tongue
the
twister.
ROH television champion. There you
You
go.
ready?
I have to put respect on that.
ROH. You ready? ROH Women's World Television Champion. Imagine saying that
There
every
you go.
time on
Every
TV. I
time.
gotta say it
You
every
know,
time.
mad respect for anyone that has a promo. That's really good. Anyway,
I
you
mean,
got
look,
a lot going on.
I've produced promos for you where we have had to stop
Yep.
because it's like the belt wasn't said correctly, and I'm like, okay, hold on, we got to do this again. And I remember those moments in the room with you, and then it's like, okay,
Yep.
we have to make sure we have the belt, every single word of it, because sometimes you can just be so intense in the moment that you just want to say, look, I am the champion, and like,
Yeah.
it's like, no, there's a very specific name
Gotta
that
put
belt
over the
has.
product, brother.
It's funny because every certain times, even I went to Mexico and they were like, Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And I was like, you cannot say
Hmm.
that. You cannot
Mhm.
say Women's
Different
Champion.
belts.
Respectfully, we have a Women's Champion, and that's Athena. I am the Women's Television Champion. And,
Mhm.
I've had to sometimes, even in promos, we got to stop. Because you just think and you're like, ROH Women's, or you say ROH TV Champion. And I'm not the ROH TV Champion because I'm the ROH Women's TV Champion. So,
There you go.
I'm always having to retrack every time I say a promo or something.
So see, this was really great because I was going to ask our producer Stacy to pause and let me re-record that. And instead, we got this cool behind-the-scenes moment of the difficulty of being able to say that the belts and the companies that we represent.
You weren't the only one. You're not the
There
only
we
one.
go. Oh man, lesson learned. Here we are. Anyway, you've been over a lot for the last 5 years. So much has gone on. I want to talk a little bit about kind of that introduction to the Women's World TV Championship in the tournament where you came back from injury and then you basically went directly into the tournament. So, what are your thoughts kind of coming back from injury and then going into such a big moment in ROH's history?
Coming back from injury at first, that was a big mental thing because at first I just had my mind set on coming back and making a statement that I was going to come back better than when I left. That was the first goal. Then came the tournament, so I was hungry. I was like, a new title, Ring of Honor. I'll put a pin in it for Ring of Honor, but the tournament, it was great. I got to push myself. I got to really see, like, okay, we're going to go and see, if you win this, you're meant to be champion. You did what you did. If not, we'll clean up in some areas and, see what needs improvement. But I went out there. I had a great time. I had a great first round match with Sandra. Second round match was Leila. Third was Queen, and all three of them taught me so much. And Queen beat me. I'm not mad at it. She went on to the final. She did not win. I wish she would have won, but she did not. But that match with her really like opened up my eyes. Like, okay, I'm back. I'm ready to do this. I'm hungry. There has to be more for me. So that the tournament continued. I didn't win, but then I came across the person who did win. And ooh, I had some karma to get back. Well, she should have gotten me back. The anger should have been with me and IC because I had beat her twice, but she came for me and I delivered right back. Don't come for me. Don't come for me because I am not scared. I'm not backing down. You call me out, I'm coming swinging every time.
Lesson learned.
Yeah,
Lesson
it was
learned.
great. But I think putting the pin in it to hold a Ring of Honor women's, first of all, it's a women's TV title, first ever. I'm not the first ever, but title that is in Ring of Honor new was such a full circle moment for me because early in my career, I tried out for Ring of Honor.
Ooh.
And yeah, twice. First time I thought I had no idea what I was doing. I look back now, I'm like, ugh. But you jump at it, and I think I was like 2 years in, and I said, hey, if the opportunity presents itself, it did. And I went then. I went, I believe, in 2019. Both times I didn't get hired, but I just think life happens at the time that it's supposed to be happen. So for me to have tried out twice there, and I went and trained a lot and met a lot of people that I wrestle with now, Trisha Dora, Frost, the Austin was there in my tryout as well. So many people. Megan Bain was at that tryout. So many people I've already gotten in the ring with who are now Ring of Honor, now at AEW. Full circle moment for me to be able to represent Ring of Honor. It's just an honor. And I'm just so happy and full of gratitude.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's, I think back a lot, when we talk about the pandemic and Daly's Place and things like that, and people always have kind of their fond memories of that essentially being a residency. But like, honestly, in my head, I've grown like this real fondness for the esports stadium last summer in Arlington, Texas. And of course, we kicked that off with Death Before Dishonor last year. And that was where you won the ROH World. Hold on. The ROH. The ROH Women's World Television Championship. There we are. And that was the night you won it. And that was already such a top to bottom, like, incredible show. I feel like that really gave people their money's worth. That was really what set the tone for people to want to come back to those shows at the residency. And to do it in front of, I think, that hot audience there in that room that smelled incredibly like popcorn. Like,
It did.
You know exactly what I mean. They were making popcorn in the room, and it's like the whole room just smells like popcorn, and it's great. But like, what was that moment like for you to feel like, to go from somebody who had been a tryout for Ring of Honor at one point, and now at our residency in the esports stadium, getting to essentially kick off what's going to be an incredible stay here, and to walk away with a championship? What was that like for you?
That night, it was a lot. So I brought my entire family. My mom stayed at home to watch. She's getting a little older, so she stayed back. But I brought my sister, my boyfriend, my niece, my trainer, my wrestling dad. Everybody was there. So the pressure was on. That night, the crowd, it was the first night, right, that we did our residency. It was full. It was full. And when I walked out, I could feel the heat. of the lights. Like I could just feel it. Match is happening, everything's going. I can't hear anything, I can't see anything, and all I remember the match. I watch it back a lot of times. It's actually one of my favorite. Not because I won, just the chemistry, and
Mhm.
Billie gave me her all. We beat each other's ass, and I respect her for that. She didn't go down without a fight, but as soon as the 1, 2, 3 hit, I could just feel everything got small, and I could just feel the vibration of everybody. And I cried because you always worry, like, what if you win and people don't care? What
Mhm.
if you win and it's not what people expected and they boo or whatever? But all in all, everybody was with me that night. Everybody felt how hard I had worked. They were in it with me together, and it was special. I get emotional thinking about it because it's, I think, a night I will never forget. There will be way more bigger moments, but it was first pay-per-view where I'm in a singles match, a singles titles match. It was really special. I get chills thinking about it because that night I couldn't believe it. I walked back to my hotel room. I don't think I even like really couldn't process it. And my boyfriend was like, "I'm gonna shower." He's like, "Sit down with the belt. Sit down. Look at it. It's yours."
Mm.
Because you're in disbelief, and a part of you wants to feel like maybe you don't deserve it or this and that. But I had to sit there with it for a while because I just I was in shock.
It's always fascinating because it's like we talk about, the behind the scenes of wrestling and what we know and what we don't know, but nothing's actually real until it's already happened.
Yeah.
So it's in those moments where you're sort of experiencing it and realizing all the things that you've done that have worked up to that moment. Like we just talked about you being at AEW for 5 years since your debut, and now you're on pay per view in a singles match, winning a title in
Yeah.
Texas at the start of this residency. Like it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's only the start of these 5 years. And there's so much more to talk about, but we got to take a quick break here on AEW Unrestricted. We've got Aubrey and Will. We're talking Red Velvet here. Stay tuned after the break. AEW Unrestricted, Aubrey, Will, Red Velvet. We're having an awesome conversation here with the ROH Women's World Television Champion. See, I did it. Ha ha, ha ha. I did it.
You
I'm going to go buy a
got it.
lotto ticket. There we go.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, and I was really excited when your name popped up on our schedule for the podcast because I was like, ooh, let's talk about CMLL because we had the distinct pleasure of being a part of the Grand Prix back in October, which for those that they're not familiar with it, it's a cybernetico, which is a match format of a tag match that is elimination. So it's 10v10 tag match where you have 10 luchadoras representing Mexico, representing CMLL, and then you have 12 luchadoras representing the world. And it's literally elimination down to the final two, even if they're on the same team, and then it becomes a singles match. And ours lasted about 55 minutes.
Yes.
And you were one of the final two. And I get to say this on the record, recorded. I would not have made it through those 48 hours without you. So thank you so much for
Thank
being a
you.
kind and understanding
I couldn't have
person.
made it through the match without you. What are you talking about?
Oh my
55
God.
minutes. That was, I mean, granted, we're not all in there at the same time, but that has
You're
been the
not.
longest match. Yeah, yeah. That has been my longest match to date. What has been your longest match that you've been in,
That one,
Aubrey?
it was
Like,
the 55 minutes.
oh, okay. Yay. It's a first for both of us.
Yeah, I think well, unless you count Blood and Guts, but you're not really in the ring for that one. That one's kind of more on
Yeah.
the outside, like you're there officiating and whatnot. But this was like needing to remember 19 finishes, and at one point my hand legitimately started bleeding from hitting the mat so much. So
I
it was
know.
quite the day. Will's like eyes got really big. Yes. Yeah, I walked back into medical after. I'm like, hi, my hand's bleeding. I'm not sure why.
Can somebody put some ice on this?
Did someone like clean this up? And the doctor's like, what'd you do? And I'm like, I counted. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my
But,
I did my
God.
job for
Yeah,
55 minutes.
oh my God. But like the best part of that is just the how great CMLL is at representing women and wrestlers from all over the world. So we had people from Japan, we had people from the US, we had, people from Vietnam, and then you were the representative from Colombia.
Yes.
And what was it like for you to be the representative from Colombia for that match?
It was amazing. It was such an honor. They actually first obviously had me as a USA foreigner. And
Mhm.
I said, hey, we're representing countries. Please can I represent my country, Colombia? And they said, absolutely, because we had already other girls that were representing
Right.
USA. So I was like, okay, amazing. This is a huge tournament. I get to represent my home country, the flag. Kind of like felt like a different world experience of kind of like what my dad and my uncle got to do. They got to represent
Mm.
Colombia in the Olympics. So I was like, okay, I'm not in the Olympics, but I'm at CMLL the Grand Prix. Like I'm still gonna represent. So it was great. I'm happy I was chosen for that. I'm happy you were chosen for that. And we made history that night. So
We did. We
clap
did.
it
It
up
was
for
pretty
us.
cool.
That's awesome. Like honestly, just thinking about, I guess, like even remembering everything about those nights. The piece I forget about is the history making element and getting to represent Colombia, getting for Aubrey to be in the ring that long. No, like hats off to both of you, and
Yeah.
genuinely getting to have that milestone together in Mexico had to be really awesome.
I know, and just being there down to the last 2 and her being there with me, I was like, "I am not alone." She's great. I always like she was the fuel to keep me there in the last 2 moments. You're hitting 55 minutes already and it's like, "Okay, we're getting close." So, it was great to share that moment with you, and she is a beast because she recently learned Spanish. So, for her to go to another
See,
country and be in the ring with, a lot of Mexican wrestlers that didn't speak the language, and for her to deliver the way she did, my hat goes off to you, and I hope that you get to come with us again.
oh man, I told them I'm more than happy to be there, and I would
Yes.
absolutely love it. And I think at the time this drops, I'll actually be on a plane back from Mexico because Dynamite's going to be at Arena Mexico, the same
Yay!
building that we were in. So it's going to be super exciting. So I'll get to go back one way or another. But either way, I mean, it's a really cool thing to be both a representative for your country, but also a representative for your company, because to see someone from AEW and ROH make it that far in that match, because this is a very historic moment. Like there's a handful of times that CMLL has done this Grand Prix with women, but this is, the first time they've had a female referee in the ring. This
Yeah.
is the first time appearance for a number of people in CMLL as a promotion. And like they bring out the pageantry for this thing. There's like the Mexican guards there. There's a whole presentation of the national anthem. Like there's a full procession. It's an incredible experience. And it was just, I remember like even though I've been learning Spanish, I remember freaking out at the Mexican restaurant the night before, making sure that I was ordering something that was like vegana.
Vegan. Yeah.
Sin carne. So
You
Velvet
d you
had my back on that one.
she did a great job. It was amazing. Yeah, they love professional wrestling and just the
Oh
Grand
my
Prix in
God.
general to sit there, like you said, the national anthem, and everybody's entrance was with their country's flag, and there's a representative there. So to see a representative holding the Colombian flag while I'm walking down as a champion representing AEW and Ring of Honor, moment I'll never forget.
Yeah, I love it. I think I have to take this podcast on a slightly darker turn, because you've had some pretty solid comebacks. But in order to talk about the comebacks, there's the point where we have to talk about what led to the comebacks.
Absolutely.
I remember the first injury, because if I'm not mistaken, it was in Independence, Missouri. I was at that
You know
Dynamite.
this.
I was at that Dynamite and as a fan and bumped into you in the hotel. And it was like, hey, I know you like work near a dirt sheet. Please don't report this. And I was like, okay.
Was that when I was on the wheelchair?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
I remember that night. Oh my God. Driving
Yeah.
around in the top trying to find a way to get you in the building.
Yeah, so made sure and nobody saw, and I was like, "Ooh." I mean, some people saw, but and it's funny because it came out after like that I was like escorted in an ambulance. I was like, that was not the case, guys.
There was a minivan with like 5 wrestlers, and we're just pushing you around in a parking lot trying to find a way into the hotel.
Right?
that's
I'm
not
like,
through the
I don't know
front.
how
Yeah.
that's an ambulance, but yeah, that was
And I didn't, by the way, because that's not my MO.
No.
Because as much of the reputation of dirt sheet guy as I have, I was a podcaster, and like I always remind people, like I was a podcaster. I don't report things. It's not what I did, and it's not what I do. But I do remember that from the time period, because as a matter of fact, like a week later, I had you on Grapsity, and So I also remember that as well. But yeah, so it was Independence, Missouri. I remember that. And then you would come back, and then you had a second setback that February, and so it was like you had two kind of back-to-back serious injuries. Um, Talk about a little bit of the rehab and the setback in terms of getting back in the ring.
So the first one was a hip injury. It happened during my time with the baddies. It was after like my back-to-back matches with Stat. We went in, we went hard. It was great.
Hmm.
I just took a couple bumps and I just like my hip was a little weird. So they were trying to find out like what it was, and there was like speculation about I had torn something. Ultimately, nothing was torn. I did like PRP and I was back in 6 months. So rehab for that one, I didn't really do anything. I just got PRP and it actually got better. But yes, knee injury happened the night I was trying to beat Jade and kill the 50-0. I was trying to make it 49-1. But, you know, the universe had other plans. I ultimately think being on the road, especially during the time of the baddies and all that, we were on the road every single week. I'd be lying if I said that I was fully taking care of myself. The time came, I was going through personal stuff. I think I was just on TV every week doing so much. I was not like warming up as much as I could. Just because I do a split choke, sometimes I just forget like you probably should stretch before you do the split choke, and just hit it. But the dancers in us, so I can hit it every time.
I can
So
just do it. No big deal.
yeah,
It's like,
no
no,
need to
honey,
stretch,
you're not
right?
as young as you used to
I'm
be.
not. I'm not. Just turned 33. But
Oh, honey.
that that was an eye opener.
You did just turn 33. It was like just this past Saturday, wasn't it? Something like that.
It was
That's
the
just
third.
turning.
Okay.
Yeah, just turned 33, and I
Yeah.
don't regret it. I feel great.
You should. 30s are great. 30s are the new
Yes.
20s.
I used to
Everything
think
anybody
20.
said about 30s is like, it's absolutely true. 30s are great.
Yeah, I used to think my 20s, and they were like, "No, you have to step into your 30s." And absolutely, my 30s have been way better. Ups and downs, but way better than my 20s. My 20s are like a test run. You're just meant to mess up and do stuff. But the knee injury opened up my eyes of just rehabbing my body. Rehab came for the knee injury. I was going in. I was going to rehab almost 4 times a week.
Oof.
Sometimes I'd have 2 a days. I would do PT, and then I'd go to the gym to do those same PT exercises after I got into therapy, because I was like, "Okay, I went through some life changes, so I'm gonna fix my personal, my mental, and my body." I had a lot of time at home to process where I was, where I wanted my career to go. So I never look at that as a bad thing. I am where I am today and have achieved w- what I've achieved today because of all those things that happen. I think everyone's journey is like it needs to be a roller coaster. No one goes straight line, no one goes up like that, no one just goes down. It has a lot of twists and turns, and I always laughed when people were like, "Oh, wrestling, it might not give you what you give back, and you're never always going to be happy." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Okay. No, yeah, it has its ups and downs, but I always took the part of rehab. I was like, okay, I'm home, guaranteed 9 months. Guaranteed 9 months. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to be home 9 months because I can't walk, I can't do this stuff." So I was like, okay, I have no choice but to sit down and reflect. And I did that. And in all aspects, and best thing I ever did, I think that injury changed a lot for me.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, it's one of those things where like I never wish an injury on anybody, but everyone I've talked to who's come out of injury always has this like profound thought because it kind of like changes how you look at everything. It's kind of one of the like you see that meme of like time is a flat circle, and it's like you actually realize how little time you
Yeah.
have and how to use your time effectively. And you've clearly used it effectively because you came back, hit the ground running, you're doing cool shit, like you're achieving all these amazing things, you're traveling the world. It's just such an incredible thing to see you excel after so many setbacks that just happen, because there's a lot of times in wrestling we can do things correct 1000 times, and then the 1000th and first time something just goes kind of differently wrong.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what it is, right? But I'm just so happy you're here, and I'm happy you're healthy, and I'm happy, like, and more importantly, happy you're in a mental space, because being able
Yes.
to prioritize that and taking care of that, like, it's important. And I think we all know that, because we've all been through those periods of time where it's like, oh yeah, no, I got to work on myself. But you truly can't heal physically unless you've healed mentally. So good on you. I appreciate that so much.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because through the injury, I realized, which you don't know that you've lost yourself until you realize that you've lost yourself. But once you know that you're lost, all you have to do is find your way back. So I felt that way. I felt lost. I realized after injury, I had no idea who I was outside. I didn't know who Stephanie was because Stephanie got wrapped up in Red Velvet and being on the road 24/7. You blur the lines. You don't.
Mhm.
So I took that time to figure out who Stephanie was and who I wanted Red Velvet to be when I got back. And I think Red Velvet now, 33 years old, I think is me in my woman growth era, and I'm
Mm.
embracing it, all aspects of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, but, it's made me strong, and every knockdown, I always take it as a challenge, and I was like, "All right, life, you hit like a bitch. What's up?" That's how I that's how you gotta take it, because life sometimes
That's that boxer in
knocks
you.
you
I don't
down. I know how to take a hit. I'm like, "Come on."
Mhm.
Right there on the
love
chin,
it.
and hey, life has knocked me down a couple times, but then when I get up, I'm like, "All right,
All
let's
right,
go
let's
again."
go. Oh my God, this is so good. This is, man, I love this conversation. We're talking with Red Velvet here on AEW Unrestricted. We got to take another quick break, but stay tuned because there's more coming up.
Unrestricted. AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will, and we are with our guest, the one and only Ring of Honor Women's World Television Champion, Red Velvet. And you
There
have
we
been
go.
holding on to that belt for nearly a year now.
Mm.
And let's talk about it. We were just talking about the setbacks, but coming back and really getting to do more of what we've wanted to see out of Red Velvet than you've ever gotten to do before. Let's talk about this last year and how this last year has been holding that championship, defending that championship. You have had some incredible defenses. We saw a street fight with Diamanté. Like, let's talk about it all. Like, what motivated this run? What motivates you now to keep going, to be the champion that you are today?
So I'm gonna get real with you guys. This
Ooh,
was my first title on television, right? You don't get a
right.
handbook. You don't get a handbook on how to be a good champion, what it takes to be a champion. You just kind of go by off of what you assume, your morals, what you want to be as a champion, right? So when I won this belt, instantly I was like, oh, I have a target on my back. I
Mm-hmm.
never knew what it was like to have a target on my back because I was chasing the target. I was always chasing the champion, right? So I had no idea, like, okay, what am I about to get myself into? And then you're like, oh, everybody's coming for me. Great. But it's been amazing. I've wrestled so many different girls during my title reign. You have Diamante in that street fight, Frost, Layla at the time, we went back and forth and stuff. So many people. And it's, I've learned so much. I've learned so much after every defense. And my attitude hasn't changed from
Mm.
when I wasn't a champion to when I was a champion, because guess what? When you get in the ring and the bell rings, as quickly as you can win is as quickly as you can lose. So what I always make sure I don't do is underestimate my opponent, because people underestimated me all the time. People underestimated me when I was going against Billy, and then I was like, "Joke's on you, it's my night." But I never underestimate my opponents, and I've if I get to know who I will wrestle a little further, I'll do my due diligence and watch their stuff. And always, I'm still a student of the game, either like while being a champion. I'm still a student of the game, but this reign has been great. It's really pushed me. I've had the opportunity as a champion now to be showcased more doing promos. So thank you for that. Keep giving me the mic. I want to talk, and in inglés, en español, de todo. I will be delivering it all. So I hope I get more opportunities to, you know, show off what I can do on the mic and do other things. But this run has been great. And I ain't done yet. So
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely not done. I mean, you're coming up on a year now at this point. It's been an incredible run. But as we mentioned earlier in the show, this is a newer title for Ring of Honor. There has not been a Ring of Honor World's Women's Television Champion in prior iterations of Ring of Honor, and you are the second, Billie Starkz having been the first.
Yeah.
So what is sort of the thing that you want to leave as like your stamp on this title? Assuming, I mean, maybe it's a rough assumption to make. I'm sorry. But
No,
assuming maybe this isn't, you're not the final champion,
of
or
course.
perhaps you're going to get another round with it again later. What's the stamp you want to put on this reign in particular?
This reign particularly was not just for me, it was for everybody who's looked at as an underdog. I
Mm,
wanted this title for anybody to think that anyone could take it from me. I never wanted the fans to look at my opponent and say, "Oh, this is an easy night. Red's gonna," no, because this title, I was gonna defend it anytime, and every time I was going to make sure I wanted to get the most out of my opponent. I want you to give me everything that you've got, because guess what? If I'm on my back and it's 1, 2, 3 and it's you, then you took it from me and I don't deserve to have it. So it's just more of like, a fighting title. Restoring honor. I've done some unhonorable things. I know Will
mm,
might call me out on it.
mm.
That
I've
was
done some
actually the next thing I was about to talk about. So let's
I
go.
know. I've done some not honorable things, but I'm always going to stand 10 toes down on restoring honor in Ring of Honor. And this reign has also, I think, is going to be opening the doors for the women and showing everybody that Ring of Honor is not going to be the B show and it's not a downgrade. It's going to be the show that people are going to talk about because I'm on it and I'm going to make sure everybody who's on it is getting talked about.
Well, since you already kind of laid the groundwork for it, let's talk
Segue.
about it. So, I want to go with, I want to take a direction just a few years back because I remember, and we had this conversation when I interviewed you on Grapsity, but it was still very new at the time. But I remember the first time I saw you working as a heel, and it was so different. It was like we had gotten to know Red Velvet through Dark, and when you first got to really make your presence known on TV. And I remember the first time my dad saw you, because that was the beauty of Dark at the time, was that you tagging with Cody at the time, and then all of a sudden your record comes up at the bottom, and my dad is like, "Whoa, she is 15-0! Like, let's go!" And it said something like that, and I remember like, "Wow, that is how effective that stat can be, and how effective Dark can be." But we had seen a certain shine out of you, and then right around middle of 2022, you got to really start to play with being a heel, and we got to see a dark side of you. And I remember thinking, "Oh, she's gonna go. Like, this is where it's gonna happen." And then the injury kind of subsided that for a little bit, but now we're getting to really see you shine in that role. How much more fun are you having?
Will, I'm just getting started.
No.
1. 2, people say to me, "Why did you turn?" I didn't turn. I have not turned. I saw clarity, right? So to
Mm,
me, I didn't turn on anybody because when I hit Layla with the screw, she hit me first. So what
mm,
goes around comes around. So that was me making a statement. And I feel every time I get in the ring, I want to see the best of the best. So if I hold a rope and I beat you, then you weren't didn't have your game all the way up, right? Sometimes, I don't have to cheat and do stuff like that. I get it, and I won't. But this reign to me now is about the truth. If you are the best and you want to be the best, then come take it from me. I don't want to hear you talking about it. Prove it in the ring. So I think people think I have a more of a dark side now because I'm not afraid to speak the truth. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to shrink myself anymore for anybody. If you are the best, come take me out. I think that I am one of the best of my time in the women's division in AEW and Ring of Honor. So whoever thinks that they are better, then I invite them to come. But I think people think because I'm more honest now, way more aggressive, that I've gone heel. But I just think I'm embracing my womanness and my truth, and the truth will lie the way. And I think it's time to clean Ring of Honor as well. So
Mm,
But
mm.
and honestly, like getting to be your honest self in this role, because there is a lot more honesty when it comes to getting to embrace your true feelings, right? When you're that fan favorite, and even you have those moments of irritation, you've got to bite your tongue. You can't say certain things, but in this, when you're in this role, when you're in this mode, say whatever you want. You get to be your true, honest self, and there's something liberating and free about that.
of course. And this time around, I say that this era, I call it my cutting ties era, right? So I'm cutting
Mm.
ties with being a people pleaser. I'm cutting ties with being the velvet that everybody likes because she was just losing. No, now I'm coming to make you lose and you lose and you lose and every woman in the locker room. I'm here to fight. I'm here to fight. I'm here to bring in people that want to fight and I'm here to take out the ones that don't want to fight, So I think now I'm just having more fun with it, but I also am not afraid to take a leadership role. I want to help bring up girls with me. I'm not just here to hog the spotlight because for that I would have gone to be a dancer solo by myself. So I want to make it known to everybody that I'm not afraid to be a leader and I want to help build the women's division in Ring of Honor so then we can, you know, go look over at the AEW girls and who knows?
I love this because it's like you didn't turn bad. It's just
No.
everyone else's was assuming incorrectly. Like you're
And
just a girl who knows what you want,
yeah, and I used to always be the person that came to save people. What happened when
right?
I needed saving? Nobody had my back. Nobody was nowhere to be found. So now I'm doing some self-reflection and I'm not just thinking about myself because obviously I want to build the women's division, but I do got to put myself first in certain aspects. So that I think came with a big change as well. Sometimes you just got to fly solo.
Right. There also was a mention in there. You said maybe grabbing the rope or cheating a little bit. So I might have to go back and like review some tape a little bit.
This is the
I'll
wrong
follow up
person
with
to
you.
tell that to.
Right. Like you're on the record, man. Do you realize what you're doing?
You know, sometimes people see it, sometimes they don't. So,
I'm just gonna say my optometrist gets a good deal of my money from time to time.
your eyes are great. Your
Totally
eyes are
great.
great. You
No
are
issues
good.
to report.
I was not even talking about you or any matches that you were in anyways.
No,
So
none that I was in whatsoever.
let's not worry about that.
So that being said, we've seen, different iterations of Red Velvet. We've seen you sort of become this person where you know what you want, your eye is on the prize. You know what you want, you know what you want to do for AEW, bringing other women up throughout the ranks in the division. It's been a crazy, crazy 5 years. What is it, the thing that you want to see happen in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, how about this year? Um,
Right?
but next 5 years, I want women tag titles. I'm going to talk about the men too. You're not left out. Women tag
Yay.
titles. I would like to see an all women's pay per view because the men deserve a night off to come cheer the women on or cheer from home, but the men deserve a day off as well. And I would love to see mixed tag titles because we just saw everything that's been going on with Marina and the Death Riders and Willow and Swerve and everything. And I think the crowd is itching and like, come on, Tony,
Mm.
like we can hang with the guys. So I think mixed tag titles would be great. I think I just want everyone. All the women want more opportunities for the women, and we're getting that. I'm gonna go on
Mhm.
record to say that we have 3 women's matches, right? For
Mhm.
Dynamite, 4 hour special in Portland. So
Hell yeah, we do.
we're doing it. But the next 5 years, I would love to see AW to continue to grow, Ring of Honor to grow and get a TV deal so we can be on TV as well.
Mm.
I'm trying to see 5 years. That puts what AW at around like 10, 11 years running,
Right.
right? So yeah, I think
Comfortably
I think
elementary school.
we are going on our way up, moving up. I'm proud. I am solid AW, so I hope to be around for the next 5 years as well.
Yeah, let's see it together.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, just thinking about the idea of what, again, you are still in such a prime of who you are and in your career, but thinking about 5 years from now, what veteran Red Velvet has for the locker room is going to be something special.
Right?
Oh, dude.
I'm like 5 years from now, I wonder, will I still be wrestling? Will I be an agent
You better be.
producing?
Don't leave me.
No.
5 years, yeah, you.
5 years, we're at 30.
You're 33. You'll be my age in 5 years.
I'd be 38. Okay, yeah, I'll still be wrestling.
You'll
I
still
think
be
I said like goal-ish. Women is a little different. I said goal maybe like I want to be 40 and still going.
Oh, you could
But
totally do that. Now
I
that
don't
now
know.
that you know, like you're taking care of yourself, you're prioritizing yourself. Like 40 is definitely like in the future, right? Like that's I think the big thing with wrestling now is that people's careers weren't as long as they were before, but now I think people have a better idea of how to take care of themselves and how to prioritize themselves while still having a good time. And it's very clear that you are doing all of those things. You're taking care of yourself, coming back from injury strong, doing crazy things, setting big statements, making them, all that fun stuff. Like it's just been incredible to see you grow in the amount of time that you've been with us since those long days of yesteryear in Jacksonville and AEW Dark without fans. And now we get to hear people cheering you internationally. This is
Right.
crazy, Red. Thank you for being
I
here
know.
today.
Thank you for having me. And just 5 years, my first day, I remember Aubrey showed me where the locker room was. So look at us, full
Look
circle.
at us.
I love
Hey,
that.
hey, look at us. Look at us.
Look at us. Sharing them
This
all.
is, this is great. This has been an excellent conversation. Thank you, Red Velvet, for being here on AEW Unrestricted. You can follow her on Instagram at La Red Velvet. And don't forget, folks, AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph memorabilia or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And check out the video episodes on our YouTube channel at AEW Unrestricted. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And are you an AEW insider? Get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today at AEWTix.com. And don't forget, AEW Dynamite on TBS Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and streaming on Max, and AEW Collision live every Saturday on TNT and streaming on Max, and ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club, where you can see the honorable ROH Women's World Television Champion, Red Velvet, who is our guest, and thank her for being here today. I'm Will Washington. She is Aubrey Edwards. We'll see you next time and have a great day. Peace.